Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the ABJ podcast, Not Cool in High School Horror, episode 145, Terrifier 2 with Courtney Smith. Want to say quick, check out the links below for not just all things ABJ, whether it be follow me on social media or hitting those YouTube memberships, Patreons, or whatever you want to do to support. Also, some merchandise looks very good, but you can check out all of our other guest links below. Make sure you go support our guest who's on the show tonight. They do a lot of really cool work, so show them that love. Also, if you're listening to this on your car, a 5-star review goes a long way. We're on all major podcast platforms, and if you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, or anywhere else, hit like, share, subscribe. All that stuff hits the channel so much. And join the live chat. Every time we are live, you can hit that bell notification, and it'll let you know. But our top-tier YouTube membership thank yous, World Champ Level, Freak Maniac, 90210, and Grand Slam Raz. You can join the community as well on our YouTube. All those things help keep the lights on. Until now, let's get back into the Not Cool in High School episode with 145 Terrifier 2. Here's some music by the Converse Kid. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are live, ABJ Podcast, Not Cool in High School Horror, episode 145, Terrifier 2 with Courtney. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, on my channel, as well as High Tension Wrestling, Twitch, and over on Kick. So if you guys are listening to this in your car or any of those want to check out those other platforms, you can go do so. Tonight, we'll be covering this movie part 2 style, new format. If you haven't listened to our last Not Cool in High School Terminator 2 review, we decided to change it up a little bit. We're not doing scene by scene things. We're changing it. I think it flows a lot better. I'm going to have a lot more. I had a lot more fun with it, but we're going to bring back another returning guest. Myself and Courtney are doing the Terrifier series, and this is the end of that road until November, and then we can come back and do part 3. Maybe we'll even do one of those in the car, like let me go see it physically and then record it and then post it for you guys later. Who knows? With the new cameras that we're trying to save up for, a lot of cool things are coming to the channel. But let's get right into this review, and let's bring in our guest, the little creep C herself, Courtney. What's going on?
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm a little tired, but we'll get through it.
I'm like tired all the time.
Yeah. So first time on the podcast. How did you have? Did you have a good time hanging out?
Yeah. I'm like it's always breaking the nerves in the beginning because I'm like, oh no, it's live. I'm in front of people. Is there a booger in my nose? But no, I'm like super chill now, and I got this nice lighting.
Yeah. You're taking it serious. You said, you know what? I'm going to be a returning guest, and we're going to be doing this more often. I want to look good. I want to sound good, and I appreciate that. You went above and beyond.
I have my health coat on, my smoker's coat. I am ready. I am established.
So yeah, we did the first style. Now we're going to hit up part 2 here. I really enjoyed the first one. Well, not really enjoyed it. I think there was some aspects I didn't like, and we'll get into a little bit of that. But we kind of answered this in the first one, but for people who haven't, why did we pick this franchise? Why did you pick these movies?
Oh, I thought, I don't know. It was just a really cool one to pick, and Terrifier is a pretty sweet movie. I mean, I kind of get too in-depth with this stuff, even though it could be like the shittiest thing in the whole wide world, but I'm going to be like, no, did you see this? And this is connected to whatever, but he's a new horror character on the scene, so why not? And plus, it's like some of the most goriest scenes that I've like watched. So
yeah. Now, is this style of horror, this gore, really explicit gore? Is this more up your alley for horror? What style do you like? Do you prefer more?
I don't know. I think this was like one of my questions the last time. I really couldn't answer it. I think I said thriller last time, but now I'm like, I love gory stuff, but I also like psychological things that they make you think. like Saw type deal, like just things that you have to think a little more in depth rather than the whole plot's in front of you or just the story's like.
Yeah.
So I
Did you
guess like
watch Late Night with the Devil yet?
no,
Do that.
no,
It's really, really good.
I need to
Yeah.
watch that. But yeah,
All right.
no, I need to put that one on the list.
So, Terrifier 2 is a 2022 American slasher film, written, directed, and edited, produced by Damien Leone. The sequel of Terrifier in 2016, it's 2024, and I just recently this year just seen both of these films. The second film is centered solely around Art the Clown, and a third feature-length film to feature the character. This is the fourth installment and sixth overall in the Terrifier franchise, which is crazy. We only did part 1 and part 2. It includes the return of David Howard Thornton and Sam Scaffolding, who portrayed Art the Clown and Victoria Hayes, respectively. In the first film, the stars Lauren Lavera, Elliot Fullman, and I'm not going through all those names. The plot follows Art's resurrection to pursue the teenage Sina, am I saying her right correctly? Sina Shaw Lavera, and her younger brother Jonathan on Halloween night after years of events of the first film.
It might be Sienna.
Sienna, thank you so much.
There we go. I'm like, it might be Sienna.
Yeah. So this movie had a budget of $250,000 and made 15.7. They barely spent $500,000 on these CGI and special effects and made $15 million. That's crazy.
That's so much.
That's so awesome. Much money. I love that.
So much.
The crab hands. I wonder if that's where they get that from. Like Mr. Krabs, because it's like crab hands.
Me money.
I may be medicated. So yeah.
My one eye just starts crossing and be like, where's she going?
Where did you first consume or hear of the Terrifier series, Art the Clown? Was it right when it came out? Were you on board with this, or were you like me and it took you too long?
I think I watched it right when it first came out. Like, I'm trying to remember like who and what. I don't know if it was Charles who told me about Terrifier. Or he was talking about Art the Clown, and I was like, who, what, and where? And or my friend Gabby, she was huge on this. So I know the first time I watched this part 2 was with her. So I'm like influenced by others, I suppose. But I mean, like, I definitely wanted to watch it. But like hearing other people being like, oh, it's so gory, so good.
Yeah, I seen Art in like meme culture. I seen Art photos and facial expressions, and I was like, "What is this clown like movie?" I was really kind of out of the loop, and then they're like, "Oh, it's this really really gory movie." And then I didn't hear about part 1 until part 2 started coming out in 2022, and everyone was raving of like, "Oh my god, this is the sequel of this really crazy movie." And then part 2 kind of reinvented part 1 for me, and then. Now talking about part 3, that's when I started watching part 2. So it's kind of weird how I'm kind of behind on the cycle of consuming this media.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's fine because it's still new to you. And then whomever you're like, watching it with can be like, oh, well, wait until you see this or get ready for it. Just as long as they don't ruin it for you.
All right. Well, this is the section of the podcast where we are going to tell all of you at home or listening or watching that the rest of this will contain spoilers. So from here on out, will contain spoilers. I think we did a pretty good job of not spoiling anything unless you didn't see part 1 in that synopsis. But let's get into our favorite parts in no particular order. We're not going to go through scene by scene. So just kind of, if I have a list, I'm just going to kind of go down my list. And then I have a couple talking points that I want to bring up to you that we can kind of discuss on the movie. And if you have some too, sneak them in there as well. So I'll let you kick it off with your first favorite thing, or favorite part, maybe actor, scene, whatever it may be, the first thing that stood out to you in this film.
Man, I guess the first part was when he just blasted everybody with a gun again. So I was like, no way, he's doing it again. And just takes out everybody in the clown corner or whatever the hell it was called. Her dream.
Like the rodeo roundup style TV shows, like the old corny cowboy kid shows.
Yeah. So that one was probably like the first one that I was like, he did not just pick up a gun again, because from the first one you're like, No. Are you allowed to do that? You're not allowed to do that. You got
Yeah,
superhuman
because
strength, apparently. You're not allowed to do that.
he was set up as this slasher, but he's also not afraid to use guns, which is kind of wild. For me, my first one is kind of a cop out. I'm just gonna go Art himself. Once again, Art is the strongest part of these movies and the strongest part of this franchise and all the scenes. Silent clown, no noises whatsoever, not even pain, wincing, anything. All he does is just facial expressions. He's a mime. He's a mime. Like, he's a mimes clown. And he once again steals the show. Like, this guy who plays Art is amazing. He really makes this character come to life when they really don't like give you much in this film. Maybe will be on my list of things I don't like, but it tried to. The first movie had really no plot. It was kind of just a sequence of events, and
Right.
it wasn't so much a story. It was just kind of like wrong place, wrong time, and then the sequence of events that happened throughout that situation. This one tries to develop a story, but we'll get more into that later. Unless it's one of your favorite things, then we'll get into it before that.
Well, like I said before, you know me, where I'm just gonna be like, oh my god, so this part and this part makes this, and maybe this makes sense, but the next person will be like, that no, who thought of that? Why would you think that?
Yeah.
So I just overanalyze everything.
Well, kind of the one thing you were analyzing a lot is the kids, and the two kids and the brother and the sister in this movie, and the mom all seem connected to Art. The kid's really obsessed with serial killers. He knows a lot about the serial killer, and the reason he knows about it is because he found his dad's journal or art book.
Yeah, the art book, as
Yeah.
Sienna called it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, there's so much to do with that, and like foreshadowing too with it. You always know, like, at least for myself, I'll always notice like that one thing. So the first thing was a dagger. In the opening scene, she's like polishing a dagger. Then all of a sudden, there's a dagger in the cereal box that she somehow knows is in there, and just shoves her hand in the glass, and then blocks his hellfire, and then that forges it. So there's more scenes about the dagger than like the mom being in it.
Yeah. The overall theme of this movie is kind of wild because it's fantasy based. She's essentially dressing up as a Valkyrie or an Amazonian woman. She's like
Right.
she's got like the Wonder Woman gear. They're representing him being the fire breathing dragon, and she's blocking it with a sword. Like, so it has that fantasy element for the movie.
Right, or like Archangel. And see,
Yeah.
that's where I can go down the hole again, but I guess I'll wait. I'll wait for that. I'll wait for that when we get into that more, because I'm just like, I have words.
So a scene for me that stands out, my second one on the list here, is the costume scene. I really liked how he kind of hid around the store in plain sight, almost talking, and then obviously the iconic sunflower glasses, which I really like. Probably one of my favorite scenes is definitely not the best kill scene, but just the overall scene shooting. Like, I thought it was cool to shoot it in a Halloween shop.
Yeah, I could say at least with the what would be the word? Like the graphics, or just how the dude's face looked when he was cutting it off.
Yeah.
It could have been better. It could have been a little better.
Yeah.
A little better.
I didn't mind the death scene. Well, that one another one where he kind of shows that he has like super strength, where he's like kind of throwing people around like crazy.
Dude, he like that's the thing in the beginning too. So right when it's opening up, it's still him at the coroner's office or whatever doctor dude was like checking him out, and you just hear like all these weird noises in the background. So I'm like, okay, is that the devil? Is he being resurrected by the devil, and that's what's going on? Like, we hear all these demons and shit, and then the next thing you know, he's just like in the mirror after, like praising himself, and he's like, Art.
Yeah. Well, the whole time of the first one, we're kind of deciding if he's paranormal, if he's a demon, what he is. He's just a normal guy. Is he not normal, but is he just a human being? And this one, I mean, it kind of just really says he's supernatural element. Like, he's missing an eye, has a hole in the head. Somehow he regenerates over time. So no matter what you do to him, he's going to kind of regenerate or come back in some form or fashion. So he kind of is portraying to us he is immortal. Also in this movie, he's seeing a little girl clown, and no one seems to be able to see her but him.
Right. And then there's the kid, so Jonathan, when they're in the school with the raccoon scene,
Yep.
he sees her sitting there. So that's where I was thinking. I'm like, all right, so if he can only see her, then they're connected somehow.
Yes, and then the sister started to see her towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once again, these kids' connection with Art, are they related? Is there a weird thing where Art might be their dad, or maybe Art killed their dad, or the dad's not around and they don't really explain why, but every time the dad's brought up and Art's brought up, the mom doesn't. She has a visceral reaction to it. She does not like
Right.
it. She's
So
kind of a kid to her a dick to her kids.
yeah, and it's like right before, I think it's the scenes before she gets taken out. She's like yelling at Jonathan and being like, "Well, why are you so obsessed with this? You know, your dad was ill and he wasn't in the right state of mind." Like she says this stuff. So it's like those little things that you have to kind of like pay attention to or like pick up on.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder if like, okay, was he put in a psych ward? Because I don't know if they really say if he dies or not, or if he's dead, just that he's not around anymore.
Yeah.
And he was not
And an
sound of mind. And
interesting. Yeah, sorry, the little delay. I
no, you're good.
apologize.
You're good. How dare you?
Another interesting thing is during the dad's art, like his book of all his newspaper clippings and stuff, they show a little girl who was captured from the circus or the carnival or whatever it may be, and
Yep.
that's the little girl ghost they're talking about.
Right, right. But so many people wouldn't even notice that because it's like a quick flip through. It wasn't like longer than like maybe 5 seconds on that page. It doesn't give her name. It's just literally the newspaper clipping, and it just says Carnival. That's all that you could see. Because I was looking to see if it said her name or anything, but then again, I didn't pause the TV to see if it really did say anything. But that's all you saw was just newspaper clipping, her face, the word Carnival.
So what if Art is their dad? He was a serial killer, but whatever, like, and then he, took this little girl, or maybe, and was killing other victims. I don't know why he wouldn't see all of them, and the little girl's the only one he's seeing. There's more to be said with this character, but then this little boy's also kind of obsessed with the serial killer life. They make fun of him, saying he's probably gonna grow up to be one. Keep an eye on this kid,
Yeah,
and now he's seeing everything Art's seeing. But once again, Art he's not trying to hurt them fully. Like, he's hurting them, but he's not trying to kill them. Everybody else is killing brutally. He's mangling them. He's ripping at their face. He knows exactly what to hit to maim or kill somebody. And with these two kids, he's kind of just toying with them.
Right. He just shows up. So it's like after she has that dream, I feel like, okay, she had that dream. Now there's some weird connection because that's where she just starts getting a little nutty. And then Art is in the Halloween store after that, I do believe. I could be wrong, but whatever. Mm-hmm. But then he just starts following them. I guess in an odd sense, too, foreshadowing, saying how like the kid was going to be, could grow up to be a psycho, because then his sister said, like, well, wait until he starts like killing animals or like bringing dead animals home or something like that. And then at school, he's seen with or accused to be putzing around with a dead raccoon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's a little foreshadowing for something in the future if he loses his shit. And then a whole family, they're on psych meds or they're on some sort of medication. The mom pops and he be popping the pills, drinking her wine.
They're definitely on medication, yeah.
Yeah,
maybe
so
suppress some type of thing that maybe their father have given.
Yeah, I'm like, those are my thoughts. I think it's their dad because that's what it's kind of like leading up to, and like her dad gave her this bang dagger or whatever. I don't know. It could be double-edged. It's from going back from like me going down the rabbit hole with like Hallows Eve and blah 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 and whatever. So I'm like stuck. So I want to say it's their dad, but then I'm like, where is he a henchman of the devil? And he's like doing their work. So is their dad the devil?
Or maybe their dad summoned. Maybe the dad summoned Art, and to summon Art, he had to maybe give the souls of his firstborn.
Yeah, something. But then I have no idea. I could talk in circles. I could talk in circles right now. Because again, like when you first see him with the little girl, she like pees blood. So it makes you, in my head, I was wondering, I'm like, oh, is that how something happened that she passed away? Like, I don't know, the blood left her that way.
So if you
And
watch
then
this with closed
I don't know.
captionings, we seen that when she comes up and makes a noise, or when she talks as the mother, when she like transforms into the mom, it doesn't say little girl, it says demon girl. So the closed captionings call her a demon. So I don't know what that stands for. But another scene, number 3 on my list, is probably the craziest kill scene of the movie, the most wild kill scene of the movie, the bedroom scene. The bedroom where
that's one of my favorites too. I think I just spit at my phone.
Breaking her apart. He's cutting her apart. He rips her hand apart.
His hand, like that split, like
he takes 2 fingers and just rips her arm like a slice of paper. Rips her face off, cuts open her back, and kind of peels the skin off the spine. He like cuts her chest open, and then he runs away. And she's crawling around, struggling, and he runs back in with a gallon of bleach and a jar of salt, and he's pouring it all over her. Like, what a dick.
Dude, it's so cringe. Like, that, the first time I saw that, the very first time I watched this movie, my stomach finally did the eat. I got ever so slightly, just a little queasy, and I never get queasy. Never. Never, not once. So that's where that got me, that I was like, all right, okay, I really enjoy this, because this is, I don't know, I've been needing that from a movie.
I needed to be broken.
I just needed that emotion. I needed a reaction.
Honestly, I do that sometimes too. Like, I watch a lot of pro wrestling, and sometimes I just don't get the same reaction as others do, and then something cool happens, and it makes me feel that again, and I'm like, oh. Like, I think the last time I had that feeling, I think we were together when we were watching WrestleMania, and Stone Cold and Kevin Owens wrestled in the main event. I was 13 again. You know what I mean? Like, I was in the bar, and I'm just like, and the whole bar was just going bananas. It's probably one of my top wrestling moments of all time, just because of how everybody was like, they were a kid again for that one segment. Like, it made us pull the curtain back.
Dude, I get such an adrenaline rush from that stuff too. I could say, like, cage match, Undertaker, Mankind.
Oh, the Hell in a Cell? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, my bad. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I just remember getting really excited when everybody fell off and it was unscripted.
Yeah.
Oh my god, did he die? Is he okay? No, I get pumped. I get so pumped for action-packed things. Wrestling.
And then another crazy kill. The friend and her boyfriend are outside. He's taking a piss in the car, and we get the old dick twist.
I mean, being a dude, does it make your belly button feel funny? Like, does that hurt when you see that stuff? You're like, oof.
I went inverted. I was watching someone get their junk ripped off was a lot. Yeah, but he doesn't finish him off. He lets that guy. I mean, I'm gonna guess he bleeds out, but he doesn't like go for the final kill, like, at least on camera.
Well, Lorena Bobbitt didn't kill that man that she chopped his pee off, so maybe he's like, I hurt you enough.
Yeah, but he like gouged and ripped and pulled and twisted.
Yeah, he's not coming. No one's coming back from any of that. Like,
yeah,
actually, as I say that, so Brutal Kill Girl, what was her name? Allie, I think it was. She's still alive. So, because she's like sitting there, she's like, Mom, and then he kills the mom. But it makes you wonder, is she gonna be just one of his like leftover victims that she gets a crazy plastic surgery shit?
Yeah,
I'm sure she's not gonna be in the third one.
Which girl in part one?
No, the second one. So the brutal kill. I can't even speak words. So the one that we were just talking about with the salt. Yeah, the salt, and
so
this is
she was still alive at that point, but I mean, if she survives that, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
you're right. She didn't show her finished.
Yeah, no. So I'm like, if they drag that into the third one, I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but I'm like, if they just keep her alive for her to be all like.
Well, the only one alive from the first movie is the very, very final girl that he rips her face off and he's eating it, and then she's still alive to this day, like in the movie.
If she gets a revenge a revenge
Yeah.
kill for,
On the
I don't
TV
know.
host
Yeah, probably
for
just for
making
being
fun of her.
making, yeah, and being out there. Because another scene in it when Sienna's like half asleep and she's watching the news reporter lady states about girl getting out of the psych ward, and then she just like looks at the TV, like through the TV at Sienna, and she's like, just like you, Sienna, about like something being on psych meds or psych ward or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I guess we'll see what happens. And then that reporter ends up surviving.
Oh,
That
does
she like,
she?
yeah, that she mutilated. Because if, again, it's like one of those dumb things that like if you hear it or if you're super duper paying attention. So I think it was in the news report that it said that that news reporter lady survived, or whatever, the interview lady survived the attack from first girl.
Yeah. The
So
face, messed up face.
yeah, so messed up face girl just made another messed up face girl.
Maybe smart
So
to kind of have that thing where they don't kill off every character and they kind of like we can bring it back and show them all mutilated again.
yeah, it kind
But
of
then
makes
it
you wonder.
comes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I was gonna say it kind of makes you wonder then with the little demon girl, like if he had her when she was like human or normal, like what did he do to her that made her into like what she is now, a figment of his imagination, some sort of
Yeah.
demon? I don't know. Guess we're gonna have to
Well,
watch the third one.
yeah. Well, the third one, to kind of give a little bit of a teaser, already has come out and said the actor who plays Terrifier said he got nauseous during the filming of part 3, where
Yeah,
he had to stop the scene and gather himself, which is bonkers to think about considering what he's done on camera already.
he's been covered in feces. He's like taken after Gigi Allen.
Yeah, he's GG Allen art over here. So the fact that part 3, and then part 3 once again has a little bit of cool things that I'm sure we'll cover, that where it's 100% crowdfunded, because all of the studio, like you would think a movie that made $200 million and then made 15 million, studios wouldn't be so uptight about giving them money, but you know
Right.
they filmed one scene in this new movie that was so bad that all the creative, like all the money guys pulled out. They're like, we're not doing this, we're not funding this movie. So
They're probably
but
like, we
when you
just don't.
tell the horror community that, we go, here's our money. We want to see that was so bad that they didn't want to film or they didn't want to pay for,
Right?
you know?
They're just a bunch of wuss pusses.
Yeah. And,
I
and,
mean,
and I mean, did we get worked? You know what I mean? Is this all planned? Like, oh. Like I
mm,
told what's the name when he did the Back Road One, I was like, he's like, this is banned, and so I'm like, lean into that. Our horror movie is banned in 4 countries. That would be
right,
all
dude?
over the box. That would be, you know what I mean? Like the horror movie that was banned in Germany. Like, why?
It's on.
Yeah, but
It's on Tubi.
is it?
Yeah, so it's totally streaming on Tubi right now, right this minute. So
Are they?
I
Is that
think,
like aware, or they're cool with that?
I mean, it's on Tubi. That's public access. That's to everybody who is gonna look
I
up
hope
background. No, I'm
I
pretty
hope
sure
they
that
sign
they.
a deal, and yeah,
I have no idea, but I know that I think they shared a post maybe like a couple weeks ago because one of my girls had messaged me yesterday and they're like, "Hey, what was that movie called?" I was like, "Oh, Backroad. It's on Tubi." She watched it and then she's messaging me and I'm like, "Listen, I still didn't watch the first one, but I'm like involved heavily in the second one."
watch
But
it. Should we review Back Road One?
oh my god, that'd be fun if we could like sit together and watch just so I could be like, "Oh, did you see?"
Yeah, I would have never signed up for part 2. No.
No, I
If I
probably
didn't
would
know,
have
yeah,
put
you
that on the
definitely would have.
bucket list anyway. I'm
Yeah.
like, I definitely would have anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to go check out the movie Courtney's going to be in part 2 of, it's a sequels across the board. Head over to Tubi and look up Back Road the movie. We in my very first episode of this podcast was the director, creator, and producer of that movie. So that's pretty cool. It's on Tubi. You said something I wasn't aware of. So we get towards the end of this movie, and then you can jump back if you want to go back and talk about anything else. But I have down for my number 5. He lets her kill him. Like he's hurt, like he slit her throat. He's just looking at her, and he can lunge up and get her. And he kind of shows his neck, and he's like, "Do it, finish me off." Like he allows her to do it, almost as if he knows it's not gonna do anything.
Right. So if he's already begin to understand that he's invincible, oh, I feel like he had that self realization the very beginning of the movie when he wrote his name on the mirror.
Yeah,
Like he's like, I'm, or like I'm back. I mean, I don't know. So
Yeah.
maybe he knows
Uh,
that he cannot be destroyed at this point in time.
yeah. And and the little girl comes back and she picks up the head and it's like it's whispering to her. And then she just walks off with it, which is if she's an imaginary figment and she's not really there, she's physically interacting with a real inanimate object.
But what was it? What are we missing? I might be missing something. I'm gonna stumble over my words and my thoughts right now. Somebody gives birth to him at the very end, though. He gets birth back. Like, so he's a part of everybody. I don't know. Just he's everywhere. I don't know how to describe it. It's art. It's an anomaly.
What you're talking about is the post-credit scene where the woman who he ripped the face off of in part 1, who also kills the TV reporter, is now in a psych ward and she's pregnant and gives birth. Yeah, she gives birth to Art's head.
How could I forget that? I'm like, I just remembered this. Like, I blocked that out. I'm like, he was just being reborn.
Now, what's the craziest part about that whole scene in the hospital? Do you know who's behind the counter? The guy who's eating the food?
No.
It's Chris Jericho.
Oh my God, yeah, I did know that. I'm like, wait, what are you gonna tell me right now? Yeah, no. There's a couple little Easter egg people in there. So he was in there, and then sleepaway camp. Because I think okay. I must. He's in that as the school teacher who scolds them about being outside, making the little girl all queasy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's probably somebody else, but I don't know. But those are at least the two. But yeah, you took the cake on that one.
So
literally,
and he ate like a head. They're eating like what looks like a severed head.
Yum, yum, yum.
All right. Negatives. I'm not going to go hard in the paint. I'm not going to try to find 5 things about so when I go into my favorites, I try to at least get 5. I try to be positive and at least get 5. But when I go into my negatives, I only do them if they come to me. I'm not forcing myself not to like something. So that's kind of how I went into it. But I got to say, if you take out the gore, the extreme excessive gore and violent kills in this movie, and you were to replace those with like kills, you know what I mean? Like quick cutaway kills.
Yeah.
The premise of this movie with the dagger and everything like that, and how it's treated and how it's kind of kiddie. This movie 100% can be a Are You Afraid of the Dark or a Goosebumps episode. It seems very TV horror, but then in between are these insane, murderous, gory, crazy kill scenes. But the feel of the movie, like in between that, seems like it could be a PG-13 kids horror TV show.
I agree. Like if we were to take out just those 2 major kills,
that would be a fun project for somebody. Make Terrifier 2
PG-13.
Yeah, PG-13.
We'll make it PG even better.
Yeah. That's my first one. Do you have one that stands out for you? Something you didn't like?
It was too predictable. Like I said with the dagger, this, that, and the other thing. Like I picked up on that, and then her being this angel. Like it was just too predictable for me that I had already known what the heck was going to probably happen towards the end.
It was predictable, but it still didn't give you answers of why.
Correct.
If that makes what the sequences of going to be were in the movie were predictable. But why they were there, we have no clue. Like, why is she dreaming about cowboy shows, and why is she like? Why is this dagger so important? Like, so like how you're saying, like A and B and C are going to go together, but the in betweens of that, you're still like, I don't understand anything what I just watched.
Like, there's what is the meaning behind the synopsis behind this besides like, okay, you're having a nightmare, cool, but that plays off again in another scene. Like, so why this and here? But I guess that's just the fun of like making us try and think that stuff. But I could even say like another negative for myself, the battle scene. Oh, I'm drowning, and then this beam of light just, and I'm like, oh, you're kidding me! Like that was the worst. That was just the worst. Like, all right, we have all this cool gore horror, and it's all intense, and then we just have this beam of light, and I'm like, oh, Jeebus, here we go. And the
Yeah.
angels will save her. Like, no.
And it was a
That's so
weird scene
bad.
where she's bleeding, where he stabbed her in the belly, and then it like really zoomed in on the blood coming out of her belly button.
Sorry, I'm
It
being
even
all
had the 80s
dramatic.
like the only other, all right, I'm adding to the
Her
list.
shower scene, her little
Yeah,
shower scene with
the
the
shower
boop,
scene creeped me
boop,
out.
doo, 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 doo.
It was
Yeah.
like oh, they're gonna show the, so like I know the girl. It's kind of like, you know what show did this to me? Shameless. Shameless had a character in the show who was portraying a underage girl, but it was played by an older girl.
Right.
But she was a very sexually active younger girl who was taking it, like trying to hook up with everyone that her mom brought home, and she hooks up with Frank. But she shows herself naked, but she's playing underage even though she's not. And this movie kind of crossed that line a little bit too, where they kind of make this girl like a high school girl, and they're showing her naked in the shower, rubbing soap all over her. It's like, could have done without that.
Yeah, like the slow up her leg, and I'm just like, well, but
The
then I'm like
under
thinking, I'm
boob,
like,
like
what?
crazy under boob.
Yeah, but then they go to a club, so is that just like an all age and underage club that they get
Yeah.
fudged up on?
To me,
Like,
it gave me high school vibes, but now you're saying the club scene, maybe they are college.
I don't know.
I don't know
I
either.
don't know. That's like one of the like this movie is just confusing. And those
Yeah.
little scenes, like yeah, you have like your story, you're following the clown, people getting killed, whatever. But it's like those odd ends. Like, are they still in school together? Does she say that she's going to call? Like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Kind of what the overall arcing for me with this one is, my list of things I didn't like as well, was it left you more questions and no answers once again. It got me, it once again leaned into that stuff where it's like, here's more thing, and you really don't know anything else. I'm not saying I need my hand held, but I'm gonna be honest. You got one more movie out of me, and then I'm lost interest. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
essentially at this point, I'm just watching for your gore kills, and as a concept movie, I'm out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be invested in your product, because I really think Art, and the guy who portrays Art and the way he portrays Art, like he has all the makings of being the next Michael Myers, the next Freddy, the next, you know what I mean? Like, it's all
yeah,
there, but I just
like
feel like we need a stronger story with it.
right, because it's messy. It's a bit messy because I don't know, like I said, like I went down the rabbit hole with going through watching Hollow's Eve and then trying to piece that together because again, like I tried to or kind of figured out like he's like summoned from the devil, like he's a devil's henchman. So okay, so then in that aspect I'm thinking already, all right, so he's like a demon, he's a paranormal, he's something. Then the first movie happens, but that only happened off on a whim. That only happens because someone somewhere out there was interested enough in Art the clown, like that clown character. So I don't know, like you can compare it, but you can't. But that's where I like go down that rabbit hole and take like little bits and pieces from each thing that he was in. So in my head, I'm like, all right, so if he's a demon or a henchman of the devil, then it goes into like the first movie where he's just killing people and then learns about himself that he is, I don't know, outworldly, super strong, whatever. I don't know, a demon or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because then, and then the second one, he is resurrected. And he knows that he can't be defeated. But then it goes off into like the art book of her
Yeah.
like holding the devil's head. So I'm like, well, that's not Art's head. It's a devil's head. So like,
Yeah.
go down there and
Lily
try and put pieces
Lily said that
together.
maybe he needed the power of the dagger. That's why he let her stab him with it. And then it's the same light that was coming from the little girl's eyes was coming from the dagger. It's another speculation.
Yeah, good point.
Did I see a movie? But we're talking about it now. But I'm going to get into my next thing. I did not like the fantasy elements added into the movie with the angel and the demon and the dragon and the blood and the dagger, and it took me out of it. It took me out of it. Now here's the thing. I really liked a lot of elements about Scream 5. I thought Scream 5 was a very mediocre at best movie, but there was a lot of stuff in there that I thought could have been good, but just ended bad. And then
Right.
Scream 6 happened. And Scream 6 did such a good job making 5 make sense, and then ended so strong on its own that it makes me reappreciate part 5 because how part 6 was. I really, really hope Terrifier 3 adds another layer to this, that now when you go back and watch 2, and then you're like, Oh, and you reappreciate it because 3 was that well done to make 2 make sense. Because
Right.
if 3 doesn't do that for me, I think I'm done with the franchise.
Yeah, I'm just here for the gore. It's like, I know, like, talking to you, but I'm like, well, wait until you see this is the most amazing thing in the world. You're gonna love it. And then you're like, what?
Yeah, the
This whole
CGI and
movie
the
made
kills
no
and the
sense.
gore is fantastic. It's some of the best kill scenes in movie history. Like they're really good and they're violent and they're just extreme. Like he's whipping a young child with a cat of nine tails. Like he's, you know what I mean? Like he's shoving mashed potatoes in a face that just got blown away with a shotgun. Like it's the gore and the violence. If that's your thing, it's there. But if you're looking for a story, it's not. It's like a
No, and see, that's where I go crazy, where I'm like trying to put together these dots and stuff. Like, even, yeah, I sat down and talked like to the Beardy about it too. I was like, okay, I'm like, I know you're sick of me talking about this. I was like, but now that I watched this again, I was like, this dagger and this, and he's like, would you just? He's like, stop it. He's like, it's just terrible. There is no plot. He's like, stop trying to make. He's like, just stop trying to put this all together. And I'm like, I can't. I have to. I have to.
you
I
have
have
like
to figure it out.
your Charlie Day like yarn strings. Yeah. But I don't
Yeah.
know.
So we go from Hallows Eve, and we go over
Yeah.
here, and we come back here. Maybe the
uh,
third one will let
yeah.
us know. I
So I
don't
think
know.
we kind of answered that a little bit, Austin. So I missed the first one. Courtney, with the series as a whole, you're excited for 3 after watching 2. Yeah, I'm gonna watch 3, but 3 has to get me in some aspect with some semblance of a decent story, and
Yeah.
maybe hire, like, listen, you're bringing the girl from Camp Sleepaway and you're bringing in Chris Jericho. Maybe use them as actors, and like because the kids that are in it, they kind of suck. Like they're
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not that great acting.
even like some of the scenes where the kids are running away towards the end had a very Stranger Thing music track to it, like, and I was just like that's where it kind of gave me that TV kiddie PG-13 vibe, where like the music, like everything about, like I said, everything except the gratuitous gore was very, like it could have been a kids TV spooky show, you know.
I agree with it because I mean, like, there's comical bits to this too. Like, you find yourself giggling at some of the shit that like Art does, or just the
Oh,
music.
when he spits on her in the hole because she spit on him.
Yeah, or just his silent like claps. But
Yeah.
even, I don't know. He's a good character, I think. And he like messes with you a bit because like at some points you're like, oh, does he actually have emotion? Is he gonna let this person go? Is there gonna be some weird relationship here? And he just kills them or kills somebody. But I don't know. I feel like he's a good enough character to like make you think about him in that sense.
Yeah.
Like, does he have emotion? Does he not have emotion? Is he sentimental? But at least he like admires his own work, his own art. So
Yeah.
that's very like Mike Myers, like, and he just turns his head.
Yep.
And Art, when he kills things, he's like, I
Yeah.
did
And he's
that.
like he kind of almost has that Freddy where he's like, ooh, like he's like really enjoying himself. Real quick, huge thank you to Captain Butters, my brother Austin, for gifting 5 free memberships to some people in the chat. And the cool thing is both Raz and Kai on their birthdays got free memberships, so that's super cool. Also, Pete Corvus with the free membership, and Gianni Zolo gets a free membership. I don't know who the 5th one is. If it popped up on screen and I didn't see it, let me know. I only see 4 of them out of the 5.
Who
But
are
huge
you?
thank you for the gifted memberships. All that money goes to help the stream and the channel. So thank you so much. Overall impressions, Courtney. Where do you lie with it? I kind of gave mine. I wish I had a little more story, but the gore is some of the best I've ever seen in horror.
That's a double-edged dagger. Overall, I'm like, I like the gore aspect. It's the first movie that made my tummy do something funny. So at least for myself wise, I give it a 4. A solid 4 because of the gore. 4 for gore.
I'm gonna give it a 3 for the gore.
3. Yeah.
If the gore wasn't as good, this would have been a 2, a 2.5, maybe even a 1.5. because I just
Yeah.
think that the story, it's like if those kills and those death scenes are not in that movie, and like I said, I just watched the rest of that as a story, it's Halloween Town. It's you know what I mean? It's not, it's a Disney
not that
Halloween movie.
great.
Yeah,
It's really not that great.
yeah, it's a Lifetime, not even Lifetime. It is literally, like I said, it's a Nickelodeon 90s. We're gonna put a spooky show on for kids, and then they added crazy death scenes. So it would have been a 1 or a 5, a 1.5 or a 2, but because how good the gore was, I'll bump it to a 3.
It's just the reaction. It's just the fact that out of nowhere, I felt a little queasy. I'm mad at myself about it. Like I won't let myself live that down, but just for that, that's where I'll lay a 4. But story, no, that's a 0. That's a whole no.
That's a 0.
That's a 0. That's a whole lot of nope.
Yeah.
There is none. But then again, you have me trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Super sleuth of like, well, if this ties here and it's a devil versus angels type ordeal, and then if they play it like I said, I could go down the rabbit hole and just make it sound really cool. But in all reality, it's not. It's just a good slasher film. Over the top kills, lots of bloods, and guns, unnecessary gun use from your bad guy.
With the movie having a slightly larger budget, that makes you guys appreciate the gore and Terrifier 1. I appreciate both movies. Both of those series, like I felt like if that was done in any other budget film, that would have that budget would have been a lot higher if that was a AAA film, because I felt like the special effects were amazing. So they made, hold on, just want to kind of go back and recap this here. Part 1, the budget for Part 1 is $35,000 to $55,000, and they made $416,000 in box office. That's just box office numbers.
I'm like, they got a new car.
Yeah, so like, if they made $416,000 in box office, let's just do a quick Google search. What did Terrifier make as
Google? Tell us the things.
Because I mean, like, you have to think too. Like, the franchise itself is like, there's like figures and toys, and like this guy has to be a millionaire, and he made his first movie with a $55,000 budget. You know what I mean? Like,
right? I'm like, we as human beings put value to the most craziest of things, though, in that essence too.
Yeah. But let's kind of get into some fun facts that I was kind of looking up about the movie. So this one kind of hits close to home. So it says shots of the Terrifier haunted house were filmed in a real haunted house called Fright Factory in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The filmmakers were used what was already available to them. David Howard Thornton, who plays Art the Clown, performed voiceovers for Art Crispies in several commercials during the dream sequence. So you actually hear Art's voice a lot in the voiceover work. As Lauren Vera trained martial arts, so she did most of her stunts the entire movie. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'll pick out some of the cool ones. The movie was completely independent made. The money was raised through several sources of aid for studio. And created all special effects himself in order to cut costs. He was able to be uncompromising in his depiction of violence and gore because there was no studio making demands on or insisting on cuts. While it was originally planned to be a limited theatrical release for a single weekend, the movie reached top 10 at the box office on multiple weekends, and its theatrical run lasted well past Halloween. The film domestically grossed over $10 million on a $250,000 budget and a 39,000% return on investment, making it the most profitable film in 2022. Damien Leone has denied any allegations of misogyny after he made Terrifier, the first one, raising women taught him to love horror movies and spending time investing in the character Sienna in Terrifier 2 was for audience to root for her, not for Art the Clown. However, the audience subconsciously identifies with the killer, and this is virtually impossible to create something in 2020s that doesn't offend somebody. So yeah, I guess because he targeted so much women in the first one, people kind of called him out for possibly misogynistic and being gross about it. So in part 2, he added that female protagonist that was able to fight back to kind of give it that classic horror movie feel.
They even didn't say that it makes you wonder then what they're going to do with the storyline. Are they just going to let it go? Was that just for fun?
Yeah. Stephen King shouted out the film on Twitter saying Terrifier 2 grossing you out old school. He just did that recently with another movie. I think Chuck just posted about it, where he gave like a review of a horror movie, and now people are like, "Oh, Stephen King's giving the nods. I have to go check it out."
Yeah, I don't know.
He just posted on Facebook. Well, listen, Stephen King's approval gave us the Evil Dead franchise. Stephen King put his stamp of approval on Evil Dead 1, and it panned out pretty well for that movie.
He's a brilliant man.
Yep. Filming Terrifier 2 began in October 2019. It was almost completely before COVID-19 quarantines. When they did full when in full makeup, disfigured Victoria was almost completely blind. There was one small hole in the fake right eye she can see through filming. Between shots, this eye could be removed. Yeah. Events of Terrifier 1 take place in 2017, and Terrifier 2 takes place 1 year later. That's pretty much. There's a few more. If you want to go check them out, please do so. But that's pretty much some of the fun facts I learned about that in the movie. So, yeah.
It makes me. I was gonna say, when you're saying like the year apart or whatever. Again, just with the dad's art book. Did he already, because they said something that like, oh, it's not your fault that this happened, but he already had all the victims painted. So yeah. Did he have that painted only a year ago, or was that already, he had that like doodled up a while prior? So it's just, again, story, plot, nothing, mystery.
Yeah. So what do you got going on, Courtney, that you want to plug or promote before we get out of
here? Well, this weekend, we're at a convention. So Caitlin McShaw and I will be at Ink in the Rink in Sunbury, June 7th, 8th, and 9th. Dude, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Have you ever done a convention yet?
No, it's my first. I'm going to peep my pants a little bit. But I made a list and I checked it a couple times. I'm gonna do it again before I go to bed tonight. But I'm stoked. I'm excited.
Everything you need.
Yeah.
So when you tattoo somebody at a convention, do you have a client who's booked that's gonna do it that day in that location, or do you just take walk-ins and have like a pinup, like a sheet that you work?
Both. So I have a couple people for like actual appointments, and then whenever I get done with them, if somebody wants to walk up and I have the time or whatever.
Is a convention tattoo. I have a convention tattoo.
Yeah, it's the best.
I got one at Atlantic City. I went up and I put money into a gallon machine and lost it in 3 seconds. And I said, F it. If I'm going to spend money here, I'm going to find something I'm going to keep forever, or I'm going to do to have more fun with. So I was walking around the hotel and I stumbled across a tattoo convention. And there was a lot of people from the TV show Ink Master there. And I stumbled up to the one guy I thought was cool. And I never even seen a second of Ink Master before. And I said, hey, man, I just want like a sailor pinup version of a Batman tattoo. And he's like, give me 15, 20 minutes. And he kind of did like a Sailor John version, or Sailor, whatever they're called, version of a Batman. And I walked back, I gave him the money, and I sat down, I got tattooed right there. And I came back to the table that they were all gambling at, and like, where were you for the 2 hours? I said, spending money. And they're like, well, how much did you win? I said, nothing, but I got this tattoo.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Actually, I met Scarlet, Sailor Jerry, Scarlet, the clown.
Mm-hmm.
I met her from the Cutthroat Freak Show. The one that's part of the Freak Show stuff. I met her at the convention. So I was walking down the hallway, and this very, let's just say, voluptuous, curvy pretty girl with clown makeup comes walking out in, almost nothing. And she goes, hey, you mind helping me carry my stuff to this tattoo? That's how I found out about the tattoo convention. And I was like, sure can. Didn't even look at the basket. I'm just carrying this girl's basket, and she's walking in front of me. If you don't know, she's gorgeous. And she's walking in front of me, and I'm carrying, and like we're talking, and I don't even look. It's just heavy as hit. I just walk, and I put it on the stage for her. I go, see you later. And I think we might even got in the convention for free because we walked in with her.
Ooh, that's even better.
She's like, I'm gonna do like a Bordeaux strip show, and I was like, I'm in. Girl's cute. So I'm standing in front of the stage. She goes and she does her dance. She brings out this basket, and about the time she brings the basket out, I realize the entire basket's wrapped in snake skin. And she opens the basket and pulls out this giant boa constrictor that I carried.
That's amazing. She didn't even tell you. She's like, here.
And I'm terrified of snakes.
Carry this.
Yep. I was so looking at her. I carried a snake around a hotel and had no idea. If she would have said, my pet snake's in that, can you carry it? I would have said, get the hell out of here. Like,
in an odd way, you faced your fears that day and you didn't even know it. Look how strong you are.
Yeah, pretty clowns, I guess, will make me conquer fears,
Pretty clowns will make you hold snakes.
Clip that. I'll tag her. But yeah, that was how my first tattoo convention I went to was that situation.
That's amazing, though.
Your pet snake is why you followed. Probably. Yeah, my little gardener, my little ringneck, whatever it is.
My ringneck, my milk snake.
My milk. That's what I want. I want a milk snake tattoo. The chat. Oh my Jesus. All right. Where can people find and support you?
They can find me on the Facebooks with just my plain old name, Courtney Smith. My Instagram is Creepsy Tattoos. I recently allowed myself to get on TikTok again, and it's the same. It's Creepsy Tattoos.
Yeah.
And I got a website. But you can find that on my Facebook pin.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into this, and if you don't want to do it, you can give me the Iggy. But I think the biggest way I want to end this is just real quick, is a quick tribute to a friend of both of ours who we recently just lost. So I just want to say we love you, and buddy, you were always a good person, and love you to death. And that's I don't want to. We don't have to get into it, but I just want to kind of give him our love. The last time we seen him was at the Gorilla Pack show, and one of the things he was talking about was my content, and he was really, really sweet about it. And we just
he's just an amazing little creature.
Yeah, and there is, I believe, a GoFundMe for him out right now, right?
Yes, please.
I will put it in the link below. So send me that GoFundMe. His family can use the help right now. So if you guys have a couple bucks, help this guy out. He was a really sweet person. But let's get out of here. Here's some music by the Converse Kid. We love you guys. And Courtney will be back for another movie review very, very soon. It's going to be a good time.
Yes, I will. Thanks.
See you guys.
Bye.
I went to the wrong button. This is the one we want. Bye.
This is an ABJ podcast production. Join us. Would you kindly join us at the Cult of ABJ Discord community? We'll see you there. Join us.